Hey, Vlad here. Welcome back to the second episode of the Sublime Spotify series. In the previous episode, which you can check out here, we discussed what Sublime is, what Spotify is, what Python is. We discussed what our plugin is going to do, and also we installed Sublime on Windows, and we installed Git, and we created a GitHub account. And I just realized that I even forgot to explain what Git is for some of you who don't know. So Git is a version control system, which means that it's a system that manages changes, because versioning is all about changes. So it manages the changes of your software. So whereas in a regular folder, you would only see the current state of the project, basically the latest state. If the folder or the project is managed by a control system, by a version control system, then you're actually able to go back in history and compare changes and also work together with other developers. So basically every time you commit a change, you create a point and an event in the recorded history. Yeah, that's basically it. So I'm not sure how far we will get in this episode, but my plan is to discuss deployment to the package control, which is a repository for sublime-text plugins, and also we're gonna write some user stories. And yeah, I want these videos to be around like half an hour. So if we still have enough time, then we'll also talk about Sublime settings. Oh, and by the way, it's raining outside, so from time to time you might hear some thunder. All right, so let's get started. First of all, why are we even talking about deployment so early, right? The thing is that we are not developing an entirely new project. I mean, sure, we're developing it from scratch, but since it's a plugin, by its very nature, it will be integrated into something else. So this something else might impose some rules on us. So there might be some naming conventions for the plugin itself. Maybe sublime-text wants certain files to be called in a certain way and things like this. So it's not such a bad idea to at least to talk about deployment in the beginning. And as we've already seen in the previous video, in order to deploy a plugin to Sublime, all you need to do is to put it into a certain folder. There's also another way to install plugins in Sublime-text, which is by a plugin called package control. So if we go to packagecontrol.io, we see this page, and there's a button called Install Now. And if we're in Sublime-text 3, which we are, all we need to do is to copy that. And let me bring Sublime into the window. All we need to do is to open the console and paste it in, and then press enter, and then it will be installed. Now I already have it, so I don't need to do it. And once we have it, we restart Sublime. And then we can open the command palette with Command-Shift-P or Control-Shift-P on Windows, and then we can type install, and there will be this command, package control install package. And this allows us to search for plugins. Let's search for Spotify just for fun. Okay, there's nothing there. It also allows you to remove plugins or packages. So as you can see, I have a file icon installed, which is a plugin that shows me the icons of files. I have a bracket highlighter, which if you have brackets, it will show you where they start and where they end, which it doesn't now because it doesn't know which syntax it is. But if that was, I don't know, let's say JavaScript, maybe it should be valid JavaScript function, whatever. Yeah, so now as you can see over here, it shows me an open curly brace and a closing curly brace. Right, but we're not here to discuss my plugins. All right, so we can remove Sublime. Yeah, so this is package control, and we obviously want our package to be there because we want a great user experience. So we go to docs, And there's a section for package developers. So that's how you submit a package. That's how you let people know once they install a new version of your package, which happens automatically, by the way. Then this allows to open like a page and to say, hey, this is the new stuff in the plugin. There's also a way to manage dependencies, which we will discuss in the future. And that doesn't really matter. So let's go to submitting a package. And we see really good docs for that. There are only like 8 things that we need to do. So let's start reading through them. So the first thing is reviewing existing packages. So visit the search page. Let's do that. And look for similar packages. We already did that in Sublime itself, but let's see what happens if we do it here. So let's say Sublime. Sorry, that's not what I meant. I meant Spotify. Oh, look at that. There is already a Spotify plugin, but it seems to be for OS X. Let's see what it's doing. Okay, so it requires OS X. And yes, access Command Shift P, command palette, and then tap Spotify. And then you can do this. You can pause and do the next previous search and repeat and all of that stuff. So basically, it uses something else. It doesn't use the REST API as we intend to do. So we can go to the homepage and check it out. And we'll see that it has, some Apple script and some other things. So basically, it's just for OS X. And also, it seems to be kind of old. So in a sense that maybe it's not maintained, or maybe there's just nothing else to do. It just works fine, and there's no need to touch it. Yeah, so basically, it's a very relevant information to know that it already exists, because it says trying to approve an existing package before adding another. They basically encourage you to not have 10 packages with the same name. In our case, we're doing something slightly different because the way we interact with Spotify is completely different. There we go, the thunder. Anyway, we're going to create our own thing. And then it says, okay, pick a name. Try not to use the word Sublime in your package name. So I've already read this page, obviously, but we're going to create a repository on GitHub, and the name of the repository is not the name of the plugin. So we can name our repository however we want. Okay, so don't use a name too similar to another. All right, so basically we can't call our plugin Spotify. So should I rename the whole series? Well, I guess not. So maybe we're going to call it Sublime REST API or something, or Sublime REST, or Sublime OS 2, or I don't know. Use camel case. Okay, that's fine. Don't use dots in the package name, and so on. You guys can read this without me. Anyway, decide how to host. So there are basically 2 ways. You either host it on GitHub or Bitbucket, or you host it yourself. But then if you host it yourself on your own server, you need to do SSL and whatever. And that's way more complicated than GitHub. So we're going to do GitHub. Okay, pick a version strategy. Basically, there's nothing to choose. There's semantic versioning. If you guys don't know how semantic versioning works, it's basically just that. This is a major release, this is a minor release, and this is a patch release, which means if we're fixing some bugs, we increase that number. If we introduce new features which don't break the API, we increase that number. And if we break some stuff really badly, we increase that number. That's all semantic versioning is. Okay, prepare your repository. Basically, remove some files that are binary and unnecessary. Add your repository to the default channel. All right, that's getting interesting. So fork the package control channel. Okay, so this is a GitHub thing. So package control is a GitHub repository, which we need to fork, and then we clone the fork to our machine, and then we just open some file, I guess, and we put in something like this. This is for GitHub hosting, so we just put in this. We're going to say our name is going to be Sublime REST or something like that, and details. Okay, it seems to be just a link to our GitHub repository. And we're going to say releases, and we're going to say for every. So this is the platform. This is how the other plugin that we just looked at. This is where it's specified that it's only for OS X, like it's done over here. See. So our plugin is going to work on any platform, so that's good. Okay, and there are also some tags, and the tags are about versioning. So it says here Yeah, so we need to create a tag each time we want to make a new version. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that later. So what's the next thing? Manual hosting. Okay, we don't really care about that. Okay, so add the platforms key. We already discussed that. Our thing is going to work for everything. Oh, I thought it would be here. No, that's actually an extra key. So there's platforms, and you can specify the platforms. I guess over here you can specify the version of sublime-text for which it's going to work. And we're going to develop it on the sublime-text 3, so it might work on the sublime-text 2, but I'm not sure. So we might specify sublime-text 3 here. Okay, run the tests. Install the tools package via package control. Okay, that's easy. And then run this command through the command palette. Okay, and then submit a pull request. It's a GitHub thing. Browse to your fork, click on pull request, enter description, click the create pull request button. Okay, and then it says, please be patient as your pull request is reviewed. We review changes to try and help to prevent duplicate packages, spot common errors, and help improve the package experience for users. All right, so that's a good thing. To introduce some cleanliness in this whole process, but for us it's not ideal, because it would be kind of cool if we could just create a package right now, create a plugin right now, and submit it, and then play around with it, and then create a new version, and then be able to delete it. But since there is a manual process involved, there are some people who are actually going to review that stuff. They don't want to see our garbage. So what we're going to do is we're going to do all the necessary steps except for the actual deployment, and then develop the whole plugin, and then in the end we're going to hope that it's actually going to work. And as they say, they're going to try to spot common errors and help us improve the package experience. So they might help us out. Okay, so let's open GitHub. GitHub.com. And so for you guys, you're just gonna click on new repository here. I have an organization, and it says I'm on that organization, blah blah blah, new repository. So I'm going to create a repository right here. So the repository name is going to be sublime, or maybe small. Let's say sublime Spotify, sublime Spotify REST. Why not? Or HTTP. No, REST. REST. Yeah. No, I don't know. Whatever. Sublime Spotify. Yeah, Sublime Spotify REST. Okay. Whatever. Description optional. We can add it later. But basically, displays the current track in the status bar of Sublime Text. It's going to be a public repository. Initialize this repository with README. Yeah, sure. Add git ignore. So we're going to do Python. So we're just going to say Python. And add a license. That's a good thing. So we're going to go with MIT. And I'm going to show you why. There's this website called choosealicense.com. And it explains basic licensing. Yeah, so I want to show you guys this thing. I don't want to choose a license, and it says you don't have to. Let's click on that. And it basically says, in this paragraph, it basically says it's all good as long as you're alone. It's still yours. Nobody can steal it from you. But it says as soon as somebody contributes, it says once the work has other contributors, nobody starts including you. So basically, nobody can steal your code, but once there are other people involved, you can't take this code as either. But I'm not a lawyer, so basically all I'm saying is it's usually a good thing just to pick a license. And it's sort of simple to do. There are like these three major, like very popular licensees. The MIT is basically the very, very simple one. It says, hey, anyone can do it and do whatever you want with it. So this is the one for products, so basically for executable, for something that is already running. Apache license is the same thing, but it also allows patent rights. So this is more suited for libraries, for languages, for platforms, frameworks, because other people are obviously going to build on top of it. So they're not necessarily going to improve the your language, your platform, your framework, or whatever, but they're going to build on top of it. And they want to patent their stuff. So that's what you want to do. And GNU GPL is a copyleft. You can read everything about it. So we're going to pick the MIT one, and we're going to say create repository. And that's what we have. So we have the gitignore file, which contains, the standard Python stuff. So that's for Git. If you have a file called .so, that Git will not recognize it as a change. So basically, Git will not track changes to it. What else? So we obviously got the license, and GitHub is doing this cool thing that it displays short information. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do, and stuff like this. And also on the main page of the repository, it says here MIT, which is kind of cool. And README, which is markdown, it says Sublime Spotify REST. Displays the current track in the status bar of sublime-text. Let's see. Okay, so we obviously picked a name, sort of. We decided how to host. Pick a version strategy. Well, there's nothing to pick from. It's basically tags, and we can't do it yet. And we also prepared our repository because we added all this stuff to gitignore. So it's not. So for example, this .pyc files. I'm sure that they should be here. No, they're not. Right. Okay, they're not. But we'll see. Anyway. The next thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to modify the README file, but not with the actual README content. What we're actually going to do is we're going to write some user stories. And we can do it actually right from here. Let's go to README. And oh, by the way, that thing on the left is a plugin for Chrome called Octatree. So Chrome Octatree. Yeah, Octatree, Chrome Web Store. It's right here. It's already added to Chrome. It basically, displays a tree for Git. And it used to match the colors of that thing used to match the color of that menu bar. But recently GitHub changed it to slightly darker color, and the plugin wasn't updated. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to change we're going to edit the README, which we can do right from GitHub, and we're not going to populate with the common README stuff that you see on the project. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to write user stories, and if you don't know what user stories is, it's basically a format that our industry has decided is the most suitable for keeping track of user requests. Basically, this is the specified behavior of the system by the user. And let's leave that thing for now. Let's say it's work in progress. Don't touch. And yeah, so the user stories. That's actually marked down, so we can do that, and it's gonna render an H2 tag, I think, for that, maybe H3, I don't know. Anyway, so what do you want to do? And the format's like this. It's going to be a list. Maybe we need that. We're going to say as a user, I need to be able to log in into my Spotify account. So that I can view my current tracks. So this is the form. Basically, we say who needs to do what, and it's not very technical. Notice that it's not very technical, and also it says why. So this is probably the most important part, even though very often in the software projects it's kind of neglected. But yeah, it helps the developers to understand why the user wants to do something, because our job is not to do what the user tells us to do, or our clients tell us to do. Our job is to help them solve their problems. So quite often we would go and be like, yeah, actually that's not what you want. That's not what you need. There's a better way. Things like this. So and this part helps us to understand why the user thinks that he needs that. All right, let's add another one. As a user, I need to be able to toggle, which means enable, disable the plugin, so that I can turn it off without uninstalling it. Okay, let's do one more. So as a user, I need to be able to change the polling interval so that I can feel like I am in control. And I forgot to add a comma right here. All right, so the whole process of our plugin is going to be like, once you install it, a browser window is going to open and the user will be able to log in and basically allow the plugin to fetch the current track. And then every once in a while, we're going to poll. So basically, we're going to ask the Spotify REST API, like, hey, did the track change? Like, what's the current track? So basically, like every 5 seconds or so, we're going to be like, hey, what's the current track? What's the current track? What's the current track? And so on. So the users might have like a crappy connection, or they might not have internet at all. So they should be able to to disable the plugin without uninstalling it, or maybe they are on a very slow connection, or maybe on a very unstable connection. So maybe they're just going to change the poll interval to, I don't know, 15 seconds or something instead of a 5. And another one, just to show you that it's also possible to say as a user, I want, which basically means that this requirement is a bit optional. The others are mandatory, but this one is nice to have. I want to be able to change the settings of the plugin without having to restart sublime-text for better user experience. And that's it. So yeah, updated README. Yeah, that's fine. Commit changes. All right. Okay, so as you can see, it's formatted a bit. So this is an unordered list because we said star star star, and it's marked down. So it converted that into HTML. So if we right click here, we should see okay, that user stories. Yeah, it was an H2, and this is an unordered list. Li. All right. So if you go back to this, which is the main repository thing, we see there are 2 commits. And this is what you get from a versioning system. You see exactly what happened. You see, okay, the initial commit was 30 minutes ago by me, and it's also possible to copy the hash code of that change, which is here. It's also possible to browse the repository at this point in history, so you can go back and forth. You can merge things together and so on. So what we're going to do now, actually. Remember I told you that I'm going to develop under Ubuntu, and I have Ubuntu in a virtual machine, which I'm going to show you guys how to install it some other time, because I already showed you how to do that under Windows, and you can do the whole thing under Windows. But I'm just going to start Oracle, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to start it, and I can close that, and it starts my virtual machine, which is here in the window, and I might need to speed it up for you, but it should boot like really fast actually. All right, so this is the virtual machine, which is a regular Windows window. It can be resized and it automatically changes the resolution. It can also be maximized as any other window. And also, if I press right Control F, then it will be really maximized. And now all of a sudden, if you didn't know that it was a virtual machine, you would think that I'm recording this under Ubuntu, which is not the case. So over here, I already have Sublime installed, but the way you install it, you just go to the website, you download the Debian package, which is an installable package under Ubuntu. You double click it and it installs Sublime, and then you go here and you type in Sublime, and it's going to be there. And then you can also log it to the launcher or unlock it to the launcher. So all we need under Ubuntu actually is Sublime, Firefox for later when we're going to do the authentication and authorization with OS2. We need a terminal, and we obviously need Git. So the way you install Git under Ubuntu is super simple. You just say sudo abd.get install Git, and I already have it. And also you can say install and say yes to everything. So password this, and it should say that I already have it. Yeah, it says 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, 0 to remove. So I already have it. So if I open Sublime now, And let's maximize that now and do that. If I go at the top and I say preferences, browse packages, then it's going to open this folder, which is in my home folder, .config, sublime-text 3, and packages, right? So if we open Firefox, go to github.com/dev-inside-you, that should work. Yeah, that works. So that repository, and we say clone or download. I thought I would suggest SSH. Hold on. Sign in. Yeah, use SSH. So because I have SSH keys set up, I can do this. So I can copy. You don't have to do that. You can do the regular one. It's just that if you have SSH key set up, then I can commit and I can push my changes without entering my my username and my password for GitHub. But you don't need that. You can do the regular stuff. So if I go into, again, config, which we saw here. Okay, so it was config. Actually, let's clear that. So yeah, so if we change the directory into config, as you can see here, config sublime-text 3 packages, and over here we say git clone, and then we right click and then we paste that URL, Sublime Spotify REST. Good. And it wants me to open my key, unlock my key. There we go. Okay, so now over here in this packages folder, there's a folder Sublime Spotify REST, right? And if we switch into that, then there's only license and there's only README, and there's also the .git folder and .gitignore, which we also see right here, same thing, just a folder. And we press Control H, then we also see the hidden files, which is git and gitignore. Yeah, so what we want to do is we want to go back here and we can say, I think it's subble dot. Right. So it opened another instance of Sublime-Text and opened that folder. So we can close this other one by pressing Ctrl-Shift-W, maximize that. Yeah, so that's our folder, and this is our plugin. It is already enabled, right? So it will say, if we go here and say new file, and we save that as Sublime Spotify. I guess we call it Sublime Spotify REST .py. All right, and we're just gonna, you know what? We're just gonna say print hello world, right? And if we open the console, so as soon as we save this file, Sublime should reload the plugin and it should run that. So we don't even need to restart Sublime. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Hello world. All right, and that should be enough for today. We already covered a lot of ground. Before we leave, let's actually commit that. So I have a plugin. So if I say remove, I have a plugin called, what's it called? It's called VCS Gutter. And over here, it shows a teeny tiny plus that shows that there's a new line, right? So if I open terminal again and I say git status, it's going to say, hey, there's a change. And we're going to add, like we did in the previous video, I'm going to say commit -m edit the main plugin file, right? And we're going to do git status. Also, I have a custom shell which shows, you know, that there are changes, and now there is time to push something, because there is something that I have on my local Git but I don't have on GitHub yet. So it says your branch is ahead of origin master by 1 commit. So if I do git push for you guys, it's gonna ask you for the username and password. For me, it's not going to, because I have SSH key set up, which doesn't matter now. Anyway, that's it for today. I know you guys really want to start writing some code, which is what we're going to do the next time. Next time it's going to be all about the settings probably, and maybe we'll even start writing tests. All right, if you like this video, like it, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I hope you liked it. See you next time.